Thank you, Mr Speaker. On the question that the matter be noted, Mr Speaker, in December last year, the Parliamentary Inquiry into Child Protection presented 176 recommendations to this government for improvement and change. Now, the Minister said at the time that the committee's report was an important contribution to the ongoing improvement of Tasmania's child protection system. But it seems that it was not so important as to result in any immediate or timely action or response by this government, because today marks exactly 5 months to the day that the Parliamentary Committee presented its comprehensive report to the Speaker on the 15th of December last year. Now, regardless of the statements contained in today's response, and I will be going through them very carefully, today's response by this government is shamefully overdue and underscores the level of disdain that this government has for the protection of children in this state. A level of disdain that I'll say is reflected in the fact that we've had to have 13 reports and over 600 recommendations into child protection in Tasmania in the past 7 years, with many of those recommendations still to be acted on. And I'm also very concerned when I read on the last page that this response sets out the critical steps we need to take to begin what will be a 10-year plan. So the question needs to be asked, how many more reports and recommendations will we now have in the next 10 years? Because over the last 7 years, we've had 13 reports and 600 recommendations. So what are we going to have in the next 10 years, Minister? Are we going to have the same sort of rate of recommendations and reports coming out? Now, in the past 5 months since the report was released, our system of protecting children in this state, I would argue, has actually gone from bad to worse. 2 months ago, the Commissioner for Children said that the child protection system was in crisis. Then 2 weeks ago, the CPSU, representing child protection workers, said that the government was failing child protection by under-resourcing the system. And then the union has warned the government it would only be a matter of time until there will be critical failures with massive implications for Tasmanian children and their families. And even today in the media, it is reported that there are 20 immediate vacancies amongst child protection workers, which has led to what the union claims is unallocated cases being hidden. Or in other words, the cases of children at risk sitting on a team leader's desk and not being case managed because of high workloads elsewhere, which I must say will offset the fifth action area, reform out-of-home care, because in here it says reform out-of-home care. The successful development of early intervention services has helped slow the rate of entry of children into care. Well, if we have hidden unallocated caseloads sitting on team leaders' desks, no wonder kids are not coming into care at the same rate that they should be. Also, the irony of this latest revelation is that several key recommendations of the Parliamentary Committee were around the workforce and the workload, particularly that excessive workloads must be addressed as a matter of urgency. Now, Minister, I hope that this isn't going to be part of your 10-year plan, because that needs to be addressed now. Compounding the problem is the fact that the number of children in care is now at an all-time high. So for the past year, we have had less resources in child protection, vacancies not being filled, and probably deliberately so just to save money in the budget, more and more children coming into care, a hidden unallocated list with no management of some cases of children at risk, and a government that has scornfully taken 5 months to respond to a comprehensive report recommending improvement. Now, Mr Speaker, I was proud to be a member of the Parliamentary Committee into Child Protection that produced this report of 176 recommendations. Like other members, I found the information presented to the committee both concerning and challenging, but at the same time I was encouraged that so many in our community, from health professionals, educators, social workers, psychologists, lawyers, family support workers, former and current commissioners for children, foster carers, parents and organisations representing children in care, took the time to write or present verbal evidence to the committee. Their dedication and passion for real change was inspirational. But they, along with us in the Liberal Party, have been baffled as to why the government has taken 5 months to respond. The 183 findings contained in this committee's report also pointed to a system struggling to meet demand, where children at risk were falling through the gaps, where serious notifications were not being acted upon, and children were being sent back into abusive home environments. And for all of the Labor Green government's talk of reform and early intervention, our system is still operating on the basis of the ambulance, waiting at the bottom of the cliff, not building a fence at the top. Now, as Shadow Minister for Children, I've heard some harrowing tales of childhood trauma, and I am still hearing those tales today. In the last week, I've heard some horrendous stories. And I fully understand that as a registered nurse, that early intervention, either by removing the child from certain risk or working intensively with families to get them back on track, is the only way we can get children the best chance in life. So I'm hoping it is on this basis, giving children the best start in life, that the government went and created a dedicated portfolio of Minister for Children and established another layer of bureaucracy with a new position of Deputy Secretary for Children, a new Office for Children and a new agenda for children, together with thousands of dollars worth of brand new furniture for the Deputy Secretary. And from all this positioning and spin, what has the benefit been for Tasmanian children and the Tasmanian child protection system? Has the child protection system improved with all this money wasted on more bureaucracy being put in place? And the answer is no. And on top of this, we have a budgeting crisis. There are more children coming into care with few out-of-home care options. Last year's forward estimates show a reduction in funding to child protection services over the next few years. There are significant holes in child protection staffing.
Minister,
the system is in crisis and needs to be fixed before another child slips between the